If running your business feels hard, painful, and emotionally exhausting, and you may be tempted to think that there's something fundamentally wrong with you, let me tell you, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. You're not broken, you're not wounded, and you don't need to heal your childhood before scaling your business. What you need to do is you stop over-personalizing your problems, start systematizing your performance. Because these days, it seems like we've created this culture into every issue gets pathologized. If you're not consistent, it must be trauma. If you're procrastinating, maybe it's ADHD. If you're emotionally unstable, let's dig into childhood. That is a trap. The best skill in business is not sales or marketing, is execution. It's learning how to do the right thing every single day without getting distracted or doubtful. This is the skill that makes elite founders elite. It's not how much marketing they know, what is their offer, it's how consistently they can execute on what they know. For you to become an incredible operator, you must train your mind for it. And if you don't want to figure this out on your own over many years or decades, you can book a recording session below. We're going to run you through an analysis to pinpoint the exact cause of you being stuck and give you a proven roadmap to scale yourself. Book your decoding session below. I'm Castillo, founder of Selfmastered, and what I'm about to tell you might upset the self-development industry, but it will save you years of wasted time and tens of thousands of dollars. See, while therapy has its place and it's highly beneficial, it's not destined to make you an elite performer. It can help you heal the past, but it will never optimize your performance and execution to build the future. And if you go down this rabbit hole too early, you start looking inwards for problems instead of actually building systems for clarity, energy, and focus. And you get trapped. You get obsessed with self-awareness and you forget about self-mastery. You focus so much on the past that you forget to build the future. And I've seen this hundreds of times. Guys who were stuck in this exact trap. But luckily, there is a way out. But you gotta understand that you do not rise in business because you heal. You rise because you get things done. Not once, but every single day. Especially when you don't feel like it, when it's boring, when no one's watching, when the pressure's high and the outcomes are uncertain. And that kind of execution does not come from deep journaling and therapy. It comes from systems that regulate your nervous system, for systems that pram your mind, for systems that structure your day, for systems you use to track your performance, for systems that eliminate friction across the board. Because when your mind is clear, your nervous system is dialed in, your calendar is ring-fenced, and your execution environment is clean, guess what happens? You execute, you get things done. And when you accomplish things with proof, your mind starts rewiring itself to accommodate your new winner identity. So to succeed, you don't need 5 years of therapy as if it was some sort of psychological PhD. You need to get things done consistently. Healing alone does not guarantee behavioral consistency. And without consistency, neuroplasticity, the ability of the brain to rewire all connections to accommodate for new learnings, does not happen. This is why at Selfmastered we don't do therapy, and we do a very specific type of coaching based on proof. We build behavioral systems that generate consistent execution, which leads to proof of progress, which leads to emotional stability. Because that is what rewires the brain. Consistency is the currency of neuroplasticity. Every time you override mental resistance, complete the work, and close the loop, your nervous system rewires. And you become the kind of person that, guess what? Get things done consistently, also known as an elite performer. So our therapy can help you process what was. Behavior consistently helps you build what's next. And in the process of building what's next, you also process and heal what was. That is what makes us different. And let me show you what that looks like with a real case study. So take a client of mine, I won't name her. She had spent 2 years in therapy working on limiting beliefs and imposter syndrome. When we first engaged, she told me she was broken and needed someone to fix herself. I told her she was not broken. She needed the right training and systems to get things done. We didn't dig deeper into her childhood. We gave her systems, a mental training protocol based on cognitive behavioral therapy to unearth and let go emotional triggers, a morning protocol to prime herself for work, a work architecture that created a structured environment to eliminate decision fatigue, feedback loops to track her performance, recovery system to prevent emotional volatility, and over time re-architected everything that she was doing. Guess what happened? Within 6 weeks, she was executing at a level she didn't even know was possible for her. Not because we healed some trauma, but because systems made that execution automatic. In her own words, he ROI'd in about 2 weeks, and within 2 months, she had her first 100K launch of her career. See, elite performance does not come from healing your past. It comes from engineering your future one system at a time. And that is a pattern that I've seen dozens of times. Brilliant founders that think there's some root cause of them being broken and move their focus away from the systems they need to actually get things done. Because the real cause really is a lack of systematic training that actually delivers a neuroplastic rewiring at the level of the brain. Oftentimes, most people get diagnosed psychological problems that really are system problems that disguise as psychology problems. Think about it this way. If a professional athlete is underperforming, do you think they send him to therapy to analyze his childhood? Or do they work with coaches to optimize training systems, nutrition protocols, and mental preparation? They fix the system. And that is why performance improves immediately. Your business performance is exactly the same way. Most founders, and most likely you don't need to heal your inner child. There's nothing broken with you. You are just untrained. And you need to train your execution capacity and execute so efficiently that your baseline emotional performance rises. Because you don't rise by reflecting more, you rise by rewarding yourself at the root through actual execution, by training your nervous system to get things done when you don't feel like it. If you don't have the results you want, it's because you don't have the system that can give it to you, and your mind hasn't yet trained to operate that system. But with the right protocol, emotional chaos just becomes signal. Distraction becomes actual structure, and uncertainty becomes your fuel. And that is not because you healed the past, it's because you have trained your mind to actually perform. And once you understand how neuroplasticity works, you can systematically rewire anything provided you use the right system. You can train your nervous system to stay calm under pressure. You can train your attention to build your capacity for focus. You can even train your identity to reinforce the beliefs and behaviors of the person you want to become. Unlike therapy, who deals with subjective feelings and insights, systematic training yields neural rewiring that produces actual results. Measure in hours of focus per day, in decisions made per week, in projects completed per month, in revenue generated per quarter. You can actually track those things. But most importantly is that it compounds over time, because when you rewire your brain to execute consistently, everything else becomes easier because your brain is naturally upgraded. You end up becoming the kind of person that execute consistently, that gets consistent results, that can make better decisions, that can use feedback loops to steer the ship towards the right path. That is how you win, not because you work harder, but because you train the operator. And I'm not saying to avoid self-reflection or not do journaling. Self-awareness is the foundation of all personal growth. But for elite performance, it's not enough, because once you've identified the patterns, you need systems to automate that best behavior. How we typically do this is in this way. First, we elevate our clients' self-awareness. Then we build systems that work regardless of how they feel. Then we use those systems to create evidence of their capabilities. And finally, that evidence rewires their identity and beliefs automatically. And this approach is simply more efficient. It always works. So instead of spending years trying to find what is not working, you build new behaviors that automatically create new thinking. This is why the approach we use as Selfmastered works so well, because with the right system, you can rewire your mind to consistently execute. And so you can scale faster without burnout, without emotional volatility, without overwhelm, without having to suffer. If you're ready to move like an actual weapon, because anyone can train itself to be a weapon, book a recording session with us. Because in this session, we'll identify which execution systems you're missing that are limiting your performance, what specific behaviors that need rewiring for consistent results, and what is the personalized protocol that, if implemented today, will yield the best outputs. Elite founders, the guys you admire the most, are not more healed than you. They're more systematic than you. They've built systems that work to prime them for elite performance, so they can consistently execute like the weapon they decided to become. And you can do exactly the same, but you have to stop looking for what's broken and you stop building what actually works. And a decoding session with us is the best option. So book the call and let's find out exactly how to transform you into the weapon you know you have to be.